You know it's time to stop working on cars outside when the ground freezes over. So today, on this episode of Car Rant, it's time we told you what happened to the Evo and where it's been this whole time. Look at this, man, it's just frozen over. As my car continues to warm up, I figured it's time to tell you guys sort of the backstory as to what happened to the Evo, why we haven't seen it for a while, and why I've been mobbing deep in the Lexus so much lately. The long and short of it is this, and it's that I unfortunately damaged the Evo. Basically, what had happened initially was I had parked the car for about a week when, you know, I had some stuff going on in my life and I needed to be in the Lexus for a little while. I needed somewhere to put it. So I parked it up at Ishmael's, I left it there, and then I went to go get it at the end of the week, and I had a bit of an issue where I couldn't start the car. I come back to Ishmael's about a week later and I'm sitting there trying to start the car and it's just not wanting to play ball. It does not want to turn over. I don't know what to do anymore because I was just sitting there and like it would sputter, and then nothing, and tried and then nothing, and then at some points it stopped altogether, and then we thought it might have been the battery because right before I got there, there had been a small cold snap in the area, and I don't know if you guys knew this, but sometimes the cold air can drain your battery out faster since electricity likes colder temperatures, I'll put it like that. So after that had happened, you know, we finally got it to turn on, and I was like, listen, the car is already warmed up from us trying to turn it over several times. We're just gonna drive it and hope for the best. I didn't even get a mile away and the car started to break down. It didn't want to play ball. I got to a bend near Ishmael's house and I got stuck in the middle of this turn. So yeah, that wasn't fun. We eventually got the car to move again, and once again, didn't even make it a mile. Had someone actually almost attempt to, you know, commit vehicular manslaughter because they see us like stranded on the side of the road, we can't move, and he decides to rev his engine real high because, you know, big V8s. I'm calling you guys out. Your exhaust note is very indicative of what you're doing on the gas pedal. This man stepped on his gas to rev straight past us, and he came within an inch of hitting myself. I had my younger brother with me, so I'm like, man, if I wasn't too caught up in the moment trying to deal with my car, I definitely would have been calling the police on you, buddy. We finally got some guys. They were able to help tow us up to a small lot. We parked the car up, and we came back the next day, put it on a flatbed, and brought it to Moore. We didn't know where else to take it because we didn't know what was wrong with it. So they went through, they checked everything. It turns out that it was actually a relay for, I want to say, the intake system or the management for the engine. We got a replacement, we put it in there, and the car now runs. But while they were going through and make sure that nothing was damaged in the engine or anything like that, they came across a very serious problem. They decided to do a compression test and a leak test just to see what was going on with the engine block. And cylinder 1 had like 25 to 35% leak. The thing was just bleeding like an open wound when it came to maintaining pressure in the block. We had bent valves in cylinder 1. And I don't know if you've ever worked with a 4G before, dear viewers, but that's not a good day in any engine block, and in ours it's kind of catastrophic because, well, our engines run mostly on boost pressure. That's how 4Gs work. If you ever look at the specs for a 4G versus an EJ25 or 205 or whatever it's called, you'll notice that EJs are more engine power and 4Gs are more boost pressure power. So having no valves is, yeah, it was a bad day. The long and short of it is that the engine now has to get the head taken off, and that's where we're at right now. The car itself will have had the head taken off right now, so they can go take it to a machine shop, get it all cleaned out, make sure there's nothing else wrong with it. We're replacing almost everything in the head. We just put in fresh titanium springs and retainers not too long ago, So we're definitely fine there, but definitely getting upgraded valves, making sure that our head is completely cleaned out, no metal pieces, no dings or dents in the walls of the engine block and things like that. We're making sure that the engine itself is still healthy, just because I really don't want to spend the money to buy another 4G. Those things are not cheap. And more importantly, this engine, like aside from cylinder 1 having bent a valve somehow, the rest of the car is in perfect shape. There's nothing else wrong with it. I mean, the transmission is kind of what it is in my car. I got it out of a wrecked vehicle, so you never know. Maybe there's something wrong with it we don't know of or whatever. But the engine had perfect compression across all 4 cylinders before this happened. It had perfect numbers. It basically was a factory fresh engine when I got my car. What was it, almost 2 years ago now? So it's crazy to me to think that this car, which had perfect numbers, now has to have the head taken off. And for those of you who know anything about engine work, once the head comes off, the car really doesn't behave quite the same ever again. So I'm a little sad there, but I'm also hoping and praying that we can get this head situation figured out. But while it's there, I figured I'll show you some footage of when we went there a couple weeks ago to go see the car and visit with the car and find out what the 411 was, and just to get some stuff out of the trunk that I had, because during that point in time I was doing some film work on other things and I needed my lenses back from that car. You can never miss my car here, because yep, it's the only yellow car in probably a 10-mile radius. Oh, I miss my girl. Soon you'll be alive. Basically, the long and short of it is, we believe, and it's on this cylinder, that's why there's oil that comes up sometimes, that cylinder 1's valves decided to give up, and that's why the car is not running right. What was the actual issue why it stopped working was one of these fat guys right here, put on the inside of that box, stopped working, and that's what led to the issues that we were having with the car, where it wouldn't want to start, or it would die on its own, or it idled terribly. It was the resistor pack, if you will, for the ignition and intake systems. So yeah, sucks, but it is what it is. We also might need to get completely new coil packs. We have to get all new hardware for the timing belt and everything like that, just because we want to be sure that it's new and fresh. It sucks, it is what it is, but hopefully soon Raika will live again. For those also wondering what else is going on the car, this is part of the reason why it's here. We are finally getting this fat turbo from Borg Warner put on there. This is an S366 turbo. This is going to help us get peak boost very early. I know it looks rusty, but it'll get cleaned up and made it look nice and all that stuff. In conjunction with this, that tubular headers. I'm excited for those to get put on the car. That's going to definitely improve airflow on the way out. This little cup right there are for some tile wastegates we have in the car. This car is going to be so much faster when we're done. I'm actually a little nervous. Realistically, the car puts down 400-ish to the wheel at the moment. When we're done, this car will put down almost 700 to the wheels. So a little excited, a little nervous. I'm going to snap a lot of axles, but we'll see what happens. This is going to be a good time once this thing comes back to life. As you guys saw, we're going for power. We know the car is down, but we figured, you know what? While it's down, why not send it with what we've got and see what we can get. We got the Borg Warner. It's an S366. It is a big turbo. It's bigger than the one that I have on the car now, and I'm gonna have to actually get rid of my AC system so that I can actually fit that turbo, make sure that the turbine works correctly and everything else, and that there's clearances. And yeah, I'm excited for this, but at the same time I'm like,
this is gonna hurt the wallet.
Either way, I figured I would at least answer the question as to why the Evo hasn't been on our videos or been driven in a while, and the answer is very simple. She broke. She finally gave up on me after over 20,000 miles of being driven daily, driven around the country, to shows, to having some fun on the street a little bit every now and again. People who say that 4Gs are unreliable, I look at them and I look at my car and go, this car proves everything that you think wrong. That's all I can think of to say, is that I had this car for so long And yeah, there was a lot of issues that I had to deal with in the beginning, but a lot of that was because of maintenance. And 4Gs as a whole are a little bit maintenance heavy. That's just kind of the nature of the beast with that kind of engine and with that kind of car, because you have to remember, these engines were never built for street use. They were built specifically to be raced on by Mitsubishi. So it was kind of a run your oil, run your coolant, run your fluids, whatever, for a race, and then for the next race, drop the fluids again and reload it with something new. So yeah, they are maintenance heavy cars, but if you're willing to bite the bullet on maintenance, man, these things are amazing. And I say these things as I'm driving the Lexus, and yeah, I miss my car. I want her back soon. Boosted Bill, if you're watching this, man, I 100% understand your struggle, and understand your pain as to not having Foxy back after almost 2 years yourself of not having that car. I get it. But on that note, guys, thanks for watching, thanks for tuning in, thanks for actually asking about the car and for looking for it. I know some of you have come up to me in person and asked this, some of you have dropped comments. But anyways, all that said, thank you guys for your support. Thanks for watching our videos and checking us out and asking about the car. It means a lot. It definitely is indicative to me that people are interested in it and people want to see it back alive and up and running. And I'm excited to see what that car is going to be like, because when that car comes out of the shop, 700 horsepower is the goal. I am very terrified of what that's going to be like in an Evo, just because I know how those cars run and behave, and it's either going to be like the most vicious ride I've ever been in my life, or something that I would love to drive every day. I don't know. It depends on how I feel, I guess. But on that note, thank you all for watching. Thanks for tuning in. Like and sub if you haven't already, and we'll see you next time. God bless and peace.